You're visiting Waxahachie, Texas with some friends and decide to pop into a restaurant for a quick bite. You've heard that the restaurant is allegedly home to a few ghosts, and after a couple of stories from your waiter, you place your order. Their signature dish, catfish. Several minutes after your food arrives, the lights start flickering and a wine glass flies off a shelf. Across the room, you see a child say, "Please don't do that," to seemingly thin air. The flickering stops. Today, we'll explore the ghost of the Catfish Plantation. Welcome to Ghost Binkers.
I thought you were going to be like, their signature dish, ghost. And then you said a normal food, and I was like, oh, I couldn't recover from it.
Always got to subvert the expectations. Welcome to Ghost Binkers, to our junior binkers. I'm Trev, and I so badly want to believe in ghosts. And with me is Killian.
I'm Killian. I so badly don't want to believe in ghosts.
But
I'm burdened by how much I love them.
I feel
right
like
now.
Mission accomplished. Yeah. So, fun fact, since this episode is coming out the day before Juneteenth, I decided we're leaving New England. We're going down south to Waxahachie, Texas.
Oh, that's such a like Native American sounding name that I just kind of assumed it was somewhere like near Scituate or whatever. I brain melted into Massachusetts.
Yeah, we're going to Waxahachie. It's a really hard name to pronounce. I did not study long enough to get it correctly. But the significance of that is because Juneteenth is a celebration of the last slaves being free, and that was in Texas. And this location, the Catfish Plantation, it's just got plantation in the name. That's the only reason I picked it.
Are you telling me that a southern state was lagging so far behind in civil rights that it was a celebration when they finally did something they should have? That's shocking.
No. It has nothing to do with that.
A holiday for Mississippi finally like ratifying the amendment that banned slavery like 6 years ago or whatever, whenever they did it.
Yeah, I think we
2012,
2021. It's a little sooner than we thought. So this story is brought to us from hauntedhouses.com. Nice and simple.
All right.
Nothing complicated. Unfortunately, no author. So
yeah, it feels like a little bit of a
yeah.
website that doesn't care much about authorship, you know?
It does.
They're a .com.
So that's true. And one of the weird things that I noticed when I scrolled to the bottom of their page is that they also link to coverups.com, nightmares.com, movieactors.com, romances.com, and thewebnetwork.com.
I'm going to say that someone who's interested in one of those things probably is interested in all of them. So I actually think it's pretty normal.
That's fair.
Someone who's like, everything's a conspiracy. Also, I wonder what Tom Cruise has been lately.
Oh, and then there's one at the top that is murdermysteries.com.
Right.
So they have like a whole like monopoly on these websites going on.
Yeah, they clearly were busy in like 2001.
Yeah. So we'll start with a little bit of history, then we'll get into the ghosts, and then the usual binking going on throughout the rest of the episode. First off, the catfish.
Hold on, we're gonna wait. You gotta refresh. You gotta do that again. I'll accept it a couple words in, but not two. That's too much.
The Catfish Plantation restaurant is located in an 1895 gingerbread Victorian house built by a farmer by the name of Anderson.
Is that like a term? Is that like a concept?
Like gingerbread? I don't know if they're just trying to like
Are they being
give
cute?
us some like visual, more visual. I did have the picture up on this screen and then it was gone. It was the one it's the one that you said was your childhood home.
Yeah, I didn't know if that was like an architectural term or if they just
I think it's because it has like the decorative trim.
Yeah.
Which like I guess isn't like every single old Victorian house probably doesn't have that. I don't know.
I'm not sure.
But also my favorite part is that the farmer named Anderson doesn't have a first name, so
a share situation.
we're just gonna call him Old Farmer Anderson. And then just to paint a better mental image, it has a big bay window in the front that looks down on the street that goes into the main part of downtown Waxahachie. It has a large 1895 style front porch and a big front yard.
Oh, I know the exact style. You can stop right there.
That is kind of a weird specific
I'm really
thing.
into 1890 to 1899
Because it's not like it's like a 1800 style front porch. It's like specifically 1895
There's
style
one
front
porch guy who's like, I get it, okay.
A big front yard that is enclosed by a white picket fence. So it's your classic
Idyllic.
Victorian house in the South that has a bunch of different origins.
Yeah.
The house has a pretty busy history, which gave it plenty of time to collect some ghostly energy.
Right.
This 1895 house was used as a private residence up to 1970.
Very busy. You're right.
Well, hold on. There's one. It was then used as a doctor's office and then was the home of several unsuccessful restaurants before the Baker family bought it in 1984, completely unaware of the resident ghosts. So
you're saying this like it was sort of mystifying. Like,
so in that time,
a building being used for things?
well, so, it was a residence. There have been a few families that lived in there from like the time that it was built or whatever. But
85 years.
The failed businesses, I think the failure really conglomerates that ghostly energy.
You have one shitty doctor.
You have a bad doctor who lets people die on his table or whatever. You have the failed restaurants. Chefs just slitting their wrists by accident because they're so bad at their job.
Aren't restaurants one of the like most likely businesses to fail? Isn't it like a thing about restaurants?
Well,
because I feel like there'd be a lot of ghosts. There'd be a lot of ghosts churning out in like Manhattan,
It's actually because every restaurant attracts ghosts and that they fail because they're too haunted. For this restaurant, the ghosts that are showing up here, we have the bakers and their patrons have learned to live with and accept the 3 ghosts/spirits. So we don't know if they're ghosts or spirits, and I didn't realize there was a distinction between the two.
I think we got to figure it out.
But I have to add that to the list of ghoulish questions to ask.
Also, they're called the Bakers, and it used to be like a restaurant. So do you think they were like happy that baking won out over cooking?
Oh.
Like we told you. We showed you.
That's a great point. Much was found out about them through experiences of the living and a lot of psychic research done in the house. So
the ghosts.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Not the bakers.
That sentence took me on like a loop-de-loop.
The bakers are still alive, and we'll talk about the bakers a little bit later.
Okay.
So we have 3 ghosts. I'll list them out and just give a quick little blurb about each one, and then we can get more into the
stats.
Give you the stats,
Their
and
hit
then
points.
we'll get more into like the stories about them. So first we have Caroline. She is described as a woman who, with her husband and family, lived in the house from 1953 until 1970, when Caroline died at the age of 80. She doesn't know that she has died. So, like, her ghost, thinks she thinks she's still alive.
Right. Yeah. No ghost does. Right.
Which is
no ghost thinks they're dead.
That's a good point. Yeah.
I feel like none of that. I've never heard of a ghost being like, oh yeah, I'm a ghost.
Yeah, most ghosts usually are just doing the shit that they would do if they were alive because they think they're alive.
Yeah.
Then we have Elizabeth Anderson. You might recognize Anderson as Old Man.
I don't know that was his
Farmer
last, I don't know that was his last name. That could have been his first name. They could be unrelated.
Plot twist. It's his last name.
Okay.
The 20-year-old daughter of Farmer Anderson was strangled on her wedding day by either her ex-boyfriend or an old girlfriend of her husband-to-be. So a former lover of one of the two killed her on her wedding day, which is pretty fucked up.
There was a split second where I was like, oh, she's bi. And then I was like, oh, no, never mind.
For a second, too, I read this already,
Fun.
and I was like, wait, girlfriend?
Yeah. So someone who used to bang one of the wedding parties was just a killer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Allegedly.
I don't know.
I
was going to say this, again, is one of those, we do this every once in a while where we bring up a murder, and I feel like there would be like
some sort of historical
corroborating record
documents or something
of like, hey, this guy choked a woman out at her wedding.
Ooh. What part of the wedding do you think it happened?
Oh,
At the
if you have an
ceremony?
objection, it's if you have an objection, like someone hopped up and was like, I got one, I got a big one. A guy and a girl went up there and they're like, let me at her. They just get. I'm sorry, if this actually happened and she died. I don't think it did. If that helps, but
now I guess I feel like I have to look it up.
yeah, because you got to do it before the ceremony. Right?
That's fair.
Because like then they're married.
Because then they're married,
up.
but till death do us part.
Oh, so you're like, oh, I could actually. You hear that at the end.
I still have a
can
chance.
Accelerate that quite a bit.
So Elizabeth Anderson was a real person.
Hey,
Elizabeth Anderson Gammon. So she did end up getting married.
no, come on.
They missed their shot. Her dad is Ezekiel Pickens Anderson.
That's a farmer name,
And he looks like a farmer.
That's got to be. Look, Ezekiel's the farmer's name of all.
He looks like a farmer, and this it happened in Waxahachie.
Yeah.
And yeah, she died at 33. So this is all adding up to be her. Unfortunately, they don't have
any information about how it happened,
method of death,
or like
in there.
or like when it happened.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
33 feels late.
October 8th, 1907.
Yeah.
Which,
okay.
That seems right.
I mean, 33 feels like kind of late for a wedding back then, right? I feel like you got married a little younger.
That's a good point.
My hypothetical.
Well, as we know from our second episode, wasn't Abby Borden a little bit old, but she was like in that age range. She was like 36 when she got married.
And they were like, you're so fucking old. You got married at 31. You crone. Well, hey, we found some corroborating details. That's nice.
Well, anyway, so yeah, she was strangled
possibly
on her wedding day.
Maybe, yeah.
And
nice.
apparently after the ceremony.
October's a great time to have a wedding.
And a great time to get strangled. Lastly,
not so hard you start to decompose, but not so cold your body gets all frozen,
Lastly, we have Will, who was a farmer who lived in the house during the Depression years, and he is the most quiet ghost, according
he's so sad.
Because, I
the
guess.
Depression years.
It's funny because I don't really picture people in the Depression era talking. Like
the silent movies.
Well, the silent movies, but also like every photo or like piece of art involving like Depression era people. They're
They're yapping in it.
But they're all like just silently staring at like the artist,
right?
With their like lips pursed really tightly.
You're mad that painters paint really slow. is what I'm getting from you.
Well, like there's photos from that time too. Like there's that iconic photo of like the woman who's like covered in dirt and like her grimy ass son is with her and they're like Depression era. Let me see. Yeah, like this woman just it looks like she's never spoken in her life.
Yeah, that's the one I was thinking of.
Yeah, I'll add that to the Ghouly Bites. So people can see what we're talking
Visualize
about.
It. Yeah, you are correct. She is not talking in that photo.
Yeah, but like
she doesn't even look like she's about to talk.
She's not talking ever.
Yeah,
she communicates to her children via like eye intensity and like mouth flicks.
Carrier pigeon.
Carrier pigeon. She writes letters. So those are our three ghosts.
Okay.
And then there's also reported just general activity that doesn't really get attributed to a specific ghost. So it's just, I don't know, people either don't know who's doing it, or maybe there's more ghosts that they don't know
or it's
about.
Will and he's not saying anything.
Or it's Will and he's from the Depression and he doesn't talk. So there are many cold spots throughout the restaurant that move around, which...
That's crazy.
I will say, we talked about this, I think, last episode, how, like, temperature should, like...
I get that people say ghosts make shit cold, but I'm not really into it as a metric because, like...
You would think it should make things warm, or I think it should make things warm.
I would also think that, like, if you paid attention to the temperature of the room you're in at any given moment, you would be like, oh, wow, it's kind of weirdly cold in this corner of the room.
Yeah.
Because rooms are, like, not perfect boxes of the same temperature.
But these cold spots move around.
Wow.
But I will say there is some consistency that everyone is saying that the ghosts make things cold. So I guess I guess I'm gonna have to accept that.
That's gotta be.
No one. I have not read an article where they're like, actually, the ghosts make people warm.
Is it just because like a hot spot is a weirder thing to experience than a cold spot? Like if I feel like if you were in a hot spot, you wouldn't be like, oh, this spot's hot. You'd be like, the room is hot.
That's fair.
Right? And then like a spot that's a little colder, you're like, oh, I can step over here and it's back to normal.
Yeah.
Whereas like hot, once it makes you hot, you're just like hot forever.
You're like, someone turn on the AC. What's going on? Some of the other things,
Broken clocks with missing parts chime intermittently.
Twice a day when they're right.
Why are you keeping broken clocks around?
I know.
Locked doors unlock themselves, and unlocked doors lock themselves.
Wow.
So
That's a tough one.
they didn't say that people are doing it.
Right.
So
it can't be them. Can't rule that out.
And then lastly, lights go on and off by themselves, as do water faucets, and the refrigerator doors open and close at will.
Yeah.
Not Will the ghost.
He's stuck in the fridge, but he can't tell anybody. He's too quiet.
He's probably never seen a refrigerator before.
That's a great point.
Back in his day, it was called an ice box.
Yeah. He's just shitting outside. Like, what are they doing in there?
Yeah, what's going on?
What's the loud thing that sucks stuff up?
Water faucets. I guess they had running water in the Depression era.
They might have had one of those like little handle
Like
cranky.
the pump, the water
We're
pump.
both doing the motion.
We're just jerking off a ghost on set.
Yeah, no, I mean, I guess, can you not learn about new technology if you're a ghost? You don't know you're dead, but do you know, can you like figure out a TV if you look around with it long enough?
I guess now I got to add that to the ghoulish questions. Can you obtain knowledge as a ghost?
You teach an old ghost new trick.
Can you teach an old ghost new tricks?
I will say, if you can't obtain knowledge, it's going to be tough to kind of fulfill your mission and stop being a ghost. Ghost people tell me that the ghost is trying to like figure something, solve something they couldn't do in life.
That is a pretty good point because, like, if it's like Groundhog Day, you kind of have to learn from your previous failed iterations.
Yeah,
And
learn to play piano. Yeah.
If you can't learn from your previous failed iterations, you are kind of fucked.
That's a great point.
Maybe that's why ghosts never go away.
They're just doomed to a mission they can never complete. It's possible.
It's the most cruel thing, but
I do it every day at work.
So now we have some actual experiences with these entities, which is this is where things start to get a little bit spooky. First, we'll talk about the spirit of Caroline,
which I'm glad they've established that Caroline is a spirit and not a ghost. I still don't know the difference between the two, but
maybe like the spirit has the soul. The ghost is just a shell, a piece of shit shell. I don't know.
Oh, maybe a ghost is just like what we were talking about, an echo of time, where a spirit is actually like, quote unquote, living, but like, you know,
sentient.
Yeah.
Okay.
After first buying this property, Mrs. Baker would commute to Waxahachie to work on the restaurant, while Mr. Baker still worked in Dallas for a while, finishing up some projects before the Bakers officially moved in for good. At this time, Mrs. Baker had the only key to this place and was the first one there in the morning and was the last one to lock up at night. One morning, as she was unlocking the door, she smelt the aroma of brewing coffee and discovered, much to her surprise, that a pot of fresh coffee awaited her as she walked into the kitchen. And then it says in parentheses, Caroline was being hospitable to this new person, Mrs. Baker, in her house. So essentially, Caroline thinks it's her house. She's like, oh, I've got a guest coming.
Okay.
Come, have this pot of coffee.
So the Bakers are buying it to convert to a restaurant, and they're the only people here.
Yeah.
Okay.
So from what I was reading, I think it's kind of like a restaurant home vibe.
Do they live upstairs?
Yeah.
There's no chance it was her husband before going to work?
No, because he's staying in Dallas
okay.
for projects. And Mrs. Baker is the only one who has the key. So, I hate to say it, but we got to chalk this one up to the ghost.
There's no way that her husband was in town that weekend and she forgot, or that she put the coffee on and forgot.
Yeah, I mean, it is a very limited article here, so...
No, I know. Also, like, she's not presenting evidence to us, you know?
Yeah, it's just, you know...
You can lie about coffee, girl. Go
I walked in, there was coffee brewing, and oh boy, did I have myself a nice ghostly cup of coffee.
I will say that, you know, as a skeptic, if someone's going to fake a ghost haunt, they might as well brew some coffee for me. You know? Might as well make themselves useful.
Make the ghost actually, like, helpful.
Do a chore, yeah. The ghost should cut my grass.
Give people a reason to keep a ghost around. Honestly, yeah, no, if I'm a ghost, I'm doing chores for the family.
Yeah.
Because then they won't try to get rid of me. They won't try to, like, exercise me out of the
Vacuum your
house.
ass up with a fucking...
Vacuum me, send the Ghostbusters after me.
You see a priest and you start scrubbing the fucking dishes in the sink. You're like, come on, man.
scrub harder. They start threatening me just to make me work harder.
About 3 weeks later, Mrs. Baker came in the morning to find the restaurant's rather large stainless steel iced tea urn sitting in the middle of the kitchen floor, with all the coffee cups stacked neatly inside it. And then, little subtext here, Caroline perhaps was tactfully giving Mrs. Baker a hint to move the restaurant to another site.
So now she's threatening a little bit.
Okay.
She's like, get your restaurant shit out of my house. Don't turn my fucking house into a restaurant with grimy kids asking for coloring books and spilling maple syrup on the floor.
Eating what was it? Fucking
Catfish.
I couldn't remember. I was gonna say crawdads. I was like, that's
Eating
not right.
the
I
signature
can't figure out the fucking
catfish dish.
Okay, so she's mad about the restaurant thing.
She is mad about the restaurant, that is a classic ghost trope, which is you come in.
They hate progress.
You start seriously, yeah. You come in, you start making changes. They're like, "What are you doing?" I think
I go to therapy and my ghost gets all pissy. You like me better before.
Yeah. I think Beetlejuice kind of illustrates it the best.
You think Beetlejuice
The
does?
movie Beetlejuice illustrates it, where like they're still living there. They're like, what the fuck is this person doing to my house? Stop it. And then they start doing things to try and make them
like-
stop changing the
Like,
house
why is
around.
this convicted pedophile in my house? And
We-
you're like, we didn't know that at the time. And go, sorry.
We've all seen Beetlejuice, right?
Oh yeah.
Restaurant employees began to tell...
Okay, so now there's employees.
Yes.
Okay.
So we've moved forward an unknown amount of time.
Right. Yeah. I guess that was my question. Is,
To the-
do you think maybe the person who was closing put them there and forgot? Potentially.
That's possible, but I think there's a jump between that 3 weeks later and then this.
Okay.
But I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Restaurant employees began to tell Mrs. Baker how coffee cups were flying through the air all by themselves across the rooms, and how a can of freeze-dried chives suddenly left the kitchen shelf it was on and flew across the room, spewing chives all over the room as it sailed by.
You said chives so much. I also think that like it must be cool to work at a place that your boss thinks is haunted.
Because then you
Because
can blame
just,
anything.
You could just throw coffee cups at your coworkers and be like, I don't know, must have been fucking Caroline.
Yeah. No, I mean that's a good point. Now that there's other people involved, it's kind of hard to like believe whether or not it's a ghost, because it could just be really negligent 15-year-old employees deciding that they don't want to take responsibility.
Drunk 15-year-olds at a catfish restaurant just slinging coffee cups at one another.
They could get away with it. It's Caroline. I do
Also,
also,
a lot of coffee in the catfish restaurant.
lots of coffee. Does
I don't know if that's a flavor profile that I
was gonna
necessarily
say,
want to put
coffee
together.
and catfish is a weird combination, I feel like. But I've never really had catfish, so I don't know. I just also like how specific this article got about freeze-dried chives, because I don't know if I've ever seen those.
Also, using
before.
that phrase in full every time it appears is really. Then the freeze-dried chives fell on the floor, and the freeze-dried chives.
Oh no, I spilled
Removed
my
by the-
my freeze-dried chives.
Carolyn threw the freeze-dried chives.
Could you pass me the freeze-dried chives?
Food has also been known to fly out of nowhere, hitting the employees.
So the ghost is trying to start a food
This
fight.
is an 80-year-old woman, right?
Yes.
The ghost, like, she's locked in
Allegedly.
at that age when she died, right? No one thinks the ghost is younger.
I don't think so, no.
Do you lock in at the age you die as a ghost?
So it's funny that you say that, because I actually, not to like, give,
Don't know.
not to give everybody a look behind the curtain, but I just finished editing episode 5, and we asked that question as well.
So you're looking at the curtains and we haven't done any research to learn anything.
The conclusion that I came to is that you are locked in,
Okay. At the time you die.
or
Okay.
when you die, you have 5 seconds
You get,
to
like, to pick
decide.
one.
You get to decide how you appear.
Every ghost is incredibly hot. They're all locking in at their best.
Yeah.
You know?
So this ghost, this 80-year-old woman, is trying to start a food fight
Throwing
at the
coffee.
restaurant.
She's knocking over freeze-dried
she's throwing
chives.
freeze-dried chives and just general food, just whatever kinds of food. Probably the signature dish, catfish.
Catfish, yeah.
Oh, and then in parentheses, we have Caroline becomes angry and frustrated because of all the strangers in her house and because her family no longer comes home for meals. She used to spend a lot of time prepping meals in the kitchen to feed her family.
Sort of feels like we got the answer and that she is still 80, because this does feel like annoying ass old lady behavior, frankly.
Throwing a temper tantrum because no one's visiting for dinner.
It's like you're throwing fucking coffee cups around, Grandma. What do you want?
This is why we don't come over anymore, Grandma.
Grandma, you made a mess of the freeze-dried chives last time we were here.
Mom, I can't go to visit Grandma anymore. Every time she just starts throwing freeze-dried chives.
What did she throw at you? Freeze-dried chives.
Freeze-dried chives.
It's becoming a nonsense syllable.
Wine glasses are
You've got to figure out a way to not make the first word so funny every time you start reading it.
When I was reading this earlier, I didn't think it was that funny.
No,
but now
when you start a sentence so confidently out of nowhere, it's like alarming. Caroline fell down.
Well, because I am like my general demeanor is like bipping and bopping, goofing and gagging, and then immediately I'm like, wine glass.
Stop gagging. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Wine glasses.
Sorry, you can actually read the story.
I can't do it anymore. Wine glasses are smashed at such a quick rate that it's hard to keep in the restaurant. Keeping up. She's smashing all
She's like 50 a day.
Why is she
Chill
freaking
the fuck out, lady?
But also, let's say it's not the ghost. Who is breaking all of these wine glasses?
It's like literally 15-year-olds just fucking slugging back wine. Yeah, this lady's fucking rude also.
Yeah. I mean,
you're supposed to be like a hospitable grandma and you're just flinging wine glasses
well,
around?
it's weird because like at first she was like, oh, welcome to my home. Here, have a pot of coffee. And then I guess maybe she thinks Mrs. Baker has overstepped her welcome.
I mean, it's her house now, lady.
Well, she still thinks it's her house.
But she can see the people coming in. She's not like, something's going on here.
Well,
okay. Let's say I think I'm alive.
Yeah.
I'm coming here to record Ghost Binkers podcast. And every time I come, there's like 6 new guests. Eventually I'll be like, I might be dead. I might be a ghost. Trev never talks to me anymore. There's a guest in my chair. No one laughs at my jokes, even though I know they're really funny. I'd be like, I think I'm a ghost. I think I'm dead.
But here's the thing. As we established, you can't teach a ghost new tricks, so you forget that every single time.
I have to write it on my body like a memento.
But now I'm confused because so
now she's learned information for sure that there's people in the house. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to just keep that in the ghoulish questions for experts. And when we have an expert on the podcast, I will ask them that question. So yeah, essentially
we asked them 2 questions. They're like, I don't think ghosts are real anymore, guys. This sucks. They start tearing up their diploma. This fucking sucks.
That would kind of suck.
It'd be really funny.
I'm going to try to read that sentence one more time just so like the junior binkers can get a clean read on it. Wine glasses are smashed at such a quick rate that it's hard to keep enough in the restaurant. People can bring in their own wine.
What do you mean? It's a restaurant. No, you can't.
Bring your own wine.
There's just a fucking pitching machine launching wine glasses off the back wall, and there's just people bringing hundreds of wine bottles. Like, where are the fucking glasses?
I do like the idea of like the Baker family getting wise to it and like starting to use like plastic wine glasses.
It also sounds like people are just like stealing the glasses when they drink their wine they brought in. Yeah. They're just hammered taking the glasses home too. They forget.
And they're like, oh, they're smashing all the wine glasses. And then in parentheses, it says Caroline doesn't approve of alcohol in her home.
First of all, citation needed. Do we have any reason to think that? 2, I love the explanations for Caroline's behavior. I think they're really great.
I do like because they're trying to like keep it fact-based, but then in parentheses, they're like, here's my opinion.
Caroline fucking hates freeze-dried chives. She hates them.
Every time someone...
She didn't know they were a thing.
She can't even say it correctly. She says free chai. So that's it for Caroline.
Thank God. I'm so sick of her.
She sounds like a blast.
Do these happen concurrently? Are all these happening at once?
I think so.
Does Caroline pelt you with 6 wine glasses? You're like, how are we going to stay open? And then Will's like, knocking over the fridge silently. And you're like, God fucking damn it, Will.
It's just chaos in there.
Because 3 ghosts for a house, one house is a lot of ghosts.
And it's not like 3 ghosts that are like kind of related in like a relationship
they have
way or a
independent
family way.
things.
They're just like they're strangers.
Imagine having 3 toddlers in your house and sort of how much trouble they could cause, you know?
Pretty much. Also, I'm curious to know if these ghosts can see each other. Can other ghosts that are not related to their situation see other ghosts?
You have to think. Oh, who's the most recently dead ghost, Will?
My guess would be Caroline because she died in like 1970.
Oh, okay. So do you think that she is like terrified of Will?
Oh, they're ghosts for her.
Yeah, and then Will is really scared of Elizabeth or whatever, and they're just like in a chain of being scared of each other.
That's a good point.
Caroline's actually throwing the wine glasses at Will to try and kill him because she thinks he's a nightmare ghost.
House.
Yeah.
Oh, it's actually now that begs the question. We're gonna have a seance to talk to Caroline because
that begs the question. We're gonna have to have a seance.
Was when she was living in the house, were those other 2 ghosts there? Was she experiencing ghost stuff when she lived there?
I would love to ask ghosts these complicated, nested questions in the seance.
So we have to talk to Caroline and we have to ask her, was Will opening your fridge when you lived there?
Do you think Will can see Elizabeth, Caroline?
And then she has like an existential crisis because I said, when you lived there, and she's like, I still live here.
The Ouija board said, what? Huh?
Excuse me? So now we're going to move on to the spirit of Elizabeth.
Oh, yeah.
Elizabeth Anderson.
Yeah, I'm excited for this one.
Elizabeth made her first appearance during a seance held in the dining room.
Okay.
Led by a woman, Ruth Jones.
Just gonna ignore this story kind of entirely, to be honest.
A local with psychic talent. So maybe
not a psychic.
Just
has psychic talent.
Just has psychic talent, which I'm more willing to respect that than someone who's trying to make a quick buck off of somebody.
You are.
Well, I guess I don't know if she made a quick buck off of somebody.
Sounds like she might have.
I think maybe they might have paid her in freeze-dried chives.
They might have paid her for the seance.
There was knocking on the walls, dishes rattled in the kitchen, and the lighted candle in the middle of the table came up like an explosion of light.
So 1, I'm assuming they paid her in the wine glass funds. That's why they're running out. 2, I think the dishes rattling is Caroline again. I think she's rattling dishes in there, so this isn't Elizabeth's fault.
So this is a little ambiguous because I am wondering if the seance took place before the Bakers.
Oh, okay.
Because they never specified when it happened.
It could have been Caroline alive.
Could have been
there.
Caroline.
Yeah.
But I like the candle came up like an explosion of light because that's a fun visual.
It'd be cool to have a trick candle as a psychic. And you're like, all right, fucking pull a little cord. If it blows up, you're like, woo.
Then the kitchen door flew open with a bang. That sounds like Will.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on though. Sorry, I binked too soon.
I'm Elizabeth.
As the reader, I binked too soon. Then the kitchen door flew open with a bang, and a young woman dressed in an old wedding gown
Sounds like Will and drag.
floated into the room. Psychics identify her as Elizabeth. Which, I mean...
Okay, wait, what?
So the door flew open, and a woman with a wedding gown floated in.
I'll say I want the ghosts to identify themselves.
She just...
I don't want the psychic being like, oh, that's Elizabeth. That's Elizabeth. And you're like, oh, okay. I think the ghosts should like write their name or something.
That's fair.
Because a lot of ghosts write shit with blood or piss or whatever. And I think they should write like Daniel. And you'd be like, oh, it's fucking Daniel. But if someone sees a ghost and then some random lady goes like, that's Juniper, I'd be like, why?
How do you know?
Delilah's here. You're like, huh? I think let the ghosts speak for themselves.
Well, to be fair, in the case of Delilah, the song "Hey There, Delilah" plays in the background as she shows
I thought
up.
you were gonna say he wrote it at a seance.
That's also possible.
I guess to be fair, Will probably would have to resort to writing. He can't speak.
Yeah,
So,
he's from the Depression era.
yeah. But again, this story, because they've identified the ghost and Elizabeth hasn't identified herself, could still be Will and drag. We don't know for sure.
That's totally fair. Her presence is detected by the sweet scent of roses.
Also, seeing her in a full body floating through the room.
Well, that for sure. But maybe you smell the roses first, and then you see her coming.
Yeah. What's with roses and ghosts?
Yeah, I don't know.
Any other flowers out there, ghost
I guess
hunters?
roses is kind of like a death flower.
No.
You leave roses on a grave?
I didn't mean to say no so affirmatively. What I think happens is that it's the only flower anybody knows. And so when they go to think of a flower, they're like, rose, yeah, for sure.
It's actually the smell of carnations, but they're like, it smells like
people,
roses.
People give them to each other and stuff, yeah, but like I don't like. I feel like most people couldn't tell the difference between a rose smell and any other flower. So I feel like they're just like, oh, it's rose. And it's just like,
yeah,
whatever.
for the most
Whatever.
part, like if you gave me a bunch of flowers to blindly smell, I probably couldn't identify any of them except for Lily of the Valley.
You're big on Lily of the Valley?
Lily of the Valley has a pretty distinct smell. I can't describe it, but if I smelled it, I could go, oh, that's Lily of the Valley.
Oh, okay.
Not a regular Lily.
I can smell Lily of the Mountain. I can identify that one.
Her presence is detected by the sweet scent of roses, moving cold spots, and actual appearances.
Oh, so you were spot on with that.
I know. I was going to say, that feels like more than detecting her presence.
This ghost likes to materialize by the bay window in front of the restaurant and wistfully looks out toward the direction of downtown, either standing or sitting at a table near this bay window. Wistfully, do we know what that means?
Yeah, she's like yearning for something.
What is she yearning for? Maybe
To
her
not be murdered at
her
her wedding?
wedding day.
Yeah, I don't really understand that. I guess what she's wistful for.
Yeah.
Maybe she wants to go downtown.
Maybe she.
In which case, the only thing stopping her is her.
Maybe her husband promised
house,
to take
bozo.
her downtown for their honeymoon. She had never been
I'll
downtown
take
before,
you to the visible thing right there.
but she'd never been there before because she was a farm girl.
Right.
And so he was like, "I'll take you down. Country mouse meet city mouse. We're going downtown."
To Waxahachie,
to
Texas.
Waxahachie, Texas, and then she got
Their
strangled.
downtown is 2 buildings. He's like, you ain't never seen nothing like this before. It also might just feel like they have a bay window and they're like, oh yeah, she looks out at whatever.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
She maybe her dead husband is there and she's just looking at him.
She can't leave the house. What else is she gonna fucking do?
Yeah,
Look out the window.
that's true.
I'm bored.
She doesn't have a phone.
She's like, oh, the neighbor. You can see them when they fuck. You can see them standing in the window.
She's just watching.
just horny in the window.
I shall never feel that touch again.
She's the freaky voyeur.
She, for some reason, knows she's a ghost.
Carolyn's still confused. Get out of my house! You
Maybe it's an age thing,
rapscallions.
too.
She's whipping wine glasses at Elizabeth. Maybe it's an age thing. Hold on, you had a theory cooking there for a second. I think I cut you off too soon.
Well, maybe Caroline keeps forgetting she's a ghost because she's 80 years old.
Dementia. Okay. You keep one ailment as a ghost.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, the question of like, what state are you in as a ghost when you die? Like, are you in the state that you died in?
How pissed
that
would
would
you
suck.
be if you're a ghost and you're like, my fucking rotator cuff still hurts? Are you kidding me? I can't reach for a heavy book? Are you kidding me?
You mean to tell me my ACL wasn't fixed by ectoplasm?
Wow, Mrs. Baker. Oh, hold on. I skipped a very important line here. She also likes to reach out to people, touching them, and is known to follow customers home.
That's kind of deranged. So she can leave.
Reaching out, touching you, that sounds like Caroline. Sweet Caroline.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
Oh, wow.
Shout out to whoever sings that song.
I think
Neil
this
Diamond,
article's
maybe?
a little confused. I think that's Neil Diamond.
I think it is.
I think this article's a little confused. We've got little occurrences getting flip-flopped here. I hate the idea of her just following customers home from the restaurant.
That's confusing to me. So what is she looking out the window for? If you can leave the restaurant, girl, go out the fucking window. Why are you standing there staring?
That's a great point. Maybe she
She's
has
like,
to
that'd take too long.
Maybe she has to latch on to someone.
It's like it's an hour walk.
Yeah.
Also, what does she do when she gets to your house?
I think they might talk a little bit about that.
Let's get into it. Let's get into the heat.
While Mrs. Baker was doing some paperwork one evening, she felt a gentle cold sensation just on her right hand. She thought that Elizabeth was holding her right hand for about 15 minutes. That's a long time.
Holy shit, girl.
That's a long time.
Half of an episode of a TV show? That's nuts.
Or one episode of a TV show if it's like a kid's show and it's like
they
a
got the two-parters.
two
The
episodes
SpongeBob.
in one.
You get to see Band Geeks, you know?
Yeah. one full Band Geeks episode.
The ghost is like, if I start another one, I gotta finish it, so I'm gonna get out now.
A dad, mom, and their baby sat down at a table near the bay window.
The bartender says, what's the long face?
And told the waitress that the baby's name was Alicia. While the mom was eating her dinner, she happened to look up from her meal and saw the name Alicia had been written in the mist of the window.
What?
This writing was confirmed by the waitress and Mr. Baker. No one living could have done it without being physically seen.
What?
That's
Is this a
crazy.
restaurant?
Yes.
Anyone in the restaurant could have done it without being physically seen, man.
Well, they were by the bay window.
Any single person could have done it and no one would have paid attention because it's a fucking restaurant.
They were right next to the
15
window.
waiters could have walked by that window and just been like, oh, Alicia, that's fun. Just wrote it in the fucking thing when they walked by.
And
Absurd.
did the mist form, or was there already mist? And then they were like,
Exactly. One, why is your restaurant misty? Fix that shit. But also, two,
it's because of all the ghosts.
I don't want to say this, like, because this might be the meanest thing I've said all day. When I don't care. I don't fucking care. That's such a fucking lame story. That's it. The ghost wrote your kid's name.
Yeah,
I don't give a
but
shit.
That's spooky.
Okay, cool, man.
How did they do it?
Even if you think it was a real ghost, she just heard you say your kid's name and wrote it on the window.
Yeah.
Who fucking cares?
She is a 20.
She's practicing typing.
She's like
Whatever.
a 20-year-old ghost. So like, you know, she's like doodling and
She's bored.
Maybe she's an artsy
She's
girly.
standing near the window already. She's doing like, yeah, hell yeah.
She's
It's
just like
she's getting into calligraphy.
yeah, she's just like practicing like writing names and stuff. So that's you know, that's pretty unbinkable.
That's all of the Elizabeth content?
There's actually some more.
Okay, because I was going to say, I got to figure out about the following people home.
Elizabeth once followed a lady customer home from the restaurant
What a serendipity.
for a short visit, perhaps prompted by this lady's sympathetic thoughts for Elizabeth, felt and expressed during the lady's meal. Elizabeth appeared to her by
Hold on.
her...
Was this lady like an Elizabeth sympathizer?
Yeah.
Notably? What does that mean?
I think out loud she was like, "Oh man, I feel so bad for Elizabeth."
So are they telling all the guests about the ghost immediately? They must be, right?
That I
Because it
believe
sounds
they
like it
are.
because this would be much weird. Imagine if I went to McDonald's and I was like, young Elizabeth. How beautiful was she on her wedding day when she
she's
was
like,
murdered?
You rang.
And I'm like, who's Elizabeth? I wasn't talking about Elizabeth. But this sounds like they walk in, they go, there's a spooky ghost named Elizabeth. And then she's talking to her boyfriend. She's like, I feel really bad for Elizabeth.
Yeah,
That sounds like really shitty.
I think that's probably the case. They're probably like, "Oh, that would suck to get strangled on your wedding day. Imagine
I would
if
be
you
like-
did that to me."
Fucking pissed. They're just, and Elizabeth is like, yeah, girl, you tell her, girly.
So, Elizabeth appeared to her by her bed at 11:30 p.m. that night.
Which I have to say,
You go to
that
bed
is
at 11:30. You fucking
that
what are you,
is-
Caroline, you old ass woman.
far too late for visitors. That's kind of rude on Elizabeth's part.
I think that's way too early for a ghost. That's the weirdest part to me. Is
That's
like,
not the witching hour.
you're watching TV still, and the ghost shows up, and you're like, oh,
But I guess in this story, like, she did follow her home from the restaurant, so she's been there for a while and just decided to be
had
like,
to-
"Here I
get
am."
in the shower and stuff. Get ready for bed. Put her makeup on.
This gentle ghost woke her up and gave her a gift of an old-fashioned powder box in the shape of a lady.
What?
She gave her a gift of an old-fashioned powder box in the shape of a lady.
Is there a picture of the box attached to the story?
No.
Dog shit. Unbelievable trap. Are you fucking kidding me? A ghost gave you a powder box, and you were like, "Cool, I'm not going to document this in any way." See ya.
Maybe she still has it.
Call her up.
We gotta find her.
Because if she threw it away, that's fucking crazy.
There can't be that many people in Waxahachie.
So you can continue reading this absurdly fake story.
After hearing a kind voice saying,
Here you are.
this startled lady saw a solid apparition of a 20-year-old woman from the waist up, between the bed and the bedside clock.
Well, we know Elizabeth's death dates, right?
Yes.
Definitely not 20.
Oh wait,
So-
no, she was like 33
33.
when she died.
I mean, I guess maybe she looked good for her age, but sure.
Yes,
I suppose.
or maybe within the 5 seconds she had to choose
was like,
her
"Back to
form,
20,
she was
baby."
like, "We're going 20."
If you die at like 5 as a ghost, can you become like 60?
No, it's
Can you-
only
can you-
you can only retread old ground. You can't tread
evolve?
new ground. No.
Oh.
Otherwise, I mean, like everyone.
Honestly, there's a lot of kid ghosts who would be able to defend themselves better if they became 25.
yeah. Or maybe the kid ghosts just don't know because they're too
stupid.
young. They're too young and stupid.
Why are there no baby ghosts?
That's a great question. I'm sure.
Fetus ghost.
I'm sure there is. You know what? Maybe that'll be the next episode. I'll try to find a baby ghost.
The baby ghost killer of...
They're like, where's the baby ghost appear? The guy's like, in the cradle. Come on.
In the cradle. Stay away from the cradle though, because if you get close, he will murder
if you get
murder
within
you.
like 6 inches of the cradle, he could probably grab you, but otherwise you are good.
The woman's face was seen quite clearly, and was serene, poised, and calm. She had gentle, earnest brown
Say word
eyes.
3 times.
Yeah, pretty much
Chill.
synonyms.
Immaculate. Considerate.
Very,
Wistful.
very demure. She had gentle, earnest brown eyes, straight, fine, light brown hair, which she wore close to her head. She was wearing an early 1900 afternoon beige frock that had a moderately low, round neckline.
Okay.
That was decorated with lace and embroidery.
I don't want to do this too soon. I'm going to pull a big lever that's labeled people want to fuck this ghost soon. Because a lot of these descriptions are getting a little too much. Okay? Relax.
Her negligee was
Her plunging neckline.
was what is it, decolletage?
Yeah.
Her decolletage.
I feel like we're getting into some territory here that I want to watch out for.
That's fair. I do want to specify this is not a horny podcast. That we'll save that for the Patreon.
Binker After Dark. But right now, everyone who's seen Elizabeth is on notice right now for me.
They're all getting the ball.
This buxom young ghost stands through the bay window.
So that's it for Elizabeth. We end with her decolletage, her alluring decolletage.
Yeah, I'm sorry about the last story is not real. That's tough. That's a tough one.
That's fair.
That's like too many things.
That's one that's a lot easier to bink. And also, like you said, there's a physical object.
We addressed this on, I believe, Ghostbusters Ghost Binkers.
Excuse me?
Ghost Binkers #1. I went to say number too early into the word Ghost Binkers. In Ghost Binkers #1, we addressed a ghost who left behind a jacket.
Yeah.
And I was very confused if it was
every time.
I was confused also, is it like a new jacket? Is it like the North Face, like a modern jacket? Like what era of jacket left behind? And like here, like Elizabeth left you a powder box. Where did she get it? Is it from the house? Is it like hers? Is it real?
She pulled it out of her bosom.
Well, but is it like ghostly? Does it stay around? I don't understand.
My guess with these types of objects,
people really gloss over the object, the physicality of
They
it.
gloss over the logistics, and that is what the Ghost Binkers are here to figure out.
I'm really interested in the physicality of objects.
My guess would be that it is physical for a time.
You think
and
it
then,
disappears?
And then they like put it down and like turn, and then it's gone.
Do you think it reappears like with Elizabeth?
Probably.
She's like, I fucking got rid of this piece of shit.
That's why she keeps giving it to people.
I gave it to that woman who was nice to me at the restaurant.
And then it comes back. And
Elizabeth is so mad because she thinks people can just keep regifting her shit.
Yeah. Or I mean, maybe if you're not pure of heart enough to hang on to
The
it,
Captain America test, of course.
it comes back to her.
Imagine being that woman's like husband or boyfriend or partner or whatever, whoever she was at the restaurant with, and you're like, where'd you get that? She's like, a ghost gave it to me. And you're like, did you steal that from the fucking restaurant and blame a ghost, man?
Oh yeah, I didn't even
We've
think
talked about your fucking kleptomania before.
I didn't even think about
It's just
theft.
shit. I gotta like talk to a news person to make this.
The last ghost, Will,
William.
he's got actually a pretty brief description.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Mainly because he doesn't talk.
Well, to be fair, did any of the other ghosts talk?
Elizabeth said, "Here you are."
Oh, right. But did Caroline talk? Did people see Caroline? No one talked about seeing her.
No one says anything about seeing her.
Okay.
No. But she sure hates alcohol in her home.
Maybe. Yeah, apparently. I guess.
So Will, the third ghost, Will, likes to mainly hang around the big front porch, though he does cause some of the cold spots in the restaurant and maybe some of the other unexplained phenomena. So they're just kind of whatever doesn't get attributed to the other two ladies. They just pop on Will.
How many cold spots can each of them cause? Can they cause like 33 cold spots across by teaming up and like divvying up the restaurant?
If ghosts make you cold, my guess is a ghost fart would also leave a cold spot.
That's sort of leaving behind a sort of a
Will is out here ripping ass.
DOT trap of fart ghost cold move. I just think that like, because they don't say like they say the ghost cause cold spots.
Yeah.
Right? But so it's not, that doesn't mean you're touching the ghost. That just means the ghost is making it cold.
My guess would be that's where the ghost is.
Well, my guess is where that's where like the AC hits off of something and goes down. But sure.
But yeah, if we're living in the ghost realm,
You think it's where the ghost is?
my ghost would my guess would be the ghost is in the spot where the cold spot is,
or they farted,
or they just crop dusted the whole restaurant. Yeah. They had those freeze dried chives.
They do sound like they would fuck up your stomach a little bit.
Police pulling up to the restaurant have seen a man dressed in overalls standing on the front porch. So,
Wait, what? Why police? That was such a weird detail.
that is a very interesting
Are
detail
they
to add.
driving them to a shootout? Why the fuck are they off duty? What does that mean? Police pulling up to the restaurant?
People are constantly calling the cops because there's wine glasses flying off the shelves.
Yeah, the owner's drunk and she's blaming Caroline again.
And then the police pull up and they see this man in overalls.
They're like, "Excuse me, sir, who's here?" And he's just silent. And they're like, "Answer me, young man." Damn foolish kids.
They
And
just beat him to
just-
death.
They just kill his ass every night.
Police pull up to the restaurant, having seen Police pulling up to the restaurant have seen a man dressed in overalls standing on the front porch. When they get out of the car and walk toward him, he vanishes right in front of them. And that's it for Will. That's
it.
That's it for Will. He just hangs out on the porch and
No
then
wonder
takes
he's
off.
silent. He lasts for a fucking millisecond.
Yeah. Now, they have a section here. Still haunted?
No, we solved it.
Yes. The bakers have accepted the fact that their restaurant is haunted, and they take it in stride and make it part of their business.
I'm shocked. I hadn't gotten any business sense at all from them.
They now give out leaflets in their restaurant explaining their ghostly housemates.
Wow. Yeah, that's crazy.
And encourage their patrons to tell them of any ghostly experiences that the patrons have in their restaurant. A sign at the entrance of the restaurant states, "If you have a ghostly experience, please tell us."
This is the second most graven ghost thing next to the patreon.com/Ghost Binkers, which is the first most graven way of maximizing ghosts for money. But the way they're behaving is I love whenever a place is like, I don't know why people just knew the name of this ghost. And it's like, we didn't tell them when they walked in.
Yeah.
We did tell them to look for stuff, and we did like blow cold air on them.
Well, also, I think we're gonna have to come up with a list of ghost sins, and the biggest ghost sin is the business
Because
interest.
also, let's say you're like a moderately successful catfish business, catfish restaurant in Waxahachie, Texas, or whatever, and you're like, maybe if we blow some cold air on these guests and tell them that the ghost makes cold spots, they'll think it's a ghost, and they'll come back and tell their friends the haunted catfish restaurant has cool ghost hauntings. you know?
Yeah. And then you can just kind of pull that thread and you're like, oh, so these earlier stories before anyone was here could have just been like setting the groundwork for this.
Notably from the same business owner people.
A lot has been done by various parapsychologists, psychics, all for free, because the restaurant is a gold mine of information. Psychic Ruth Jones and parapsychologist Dwayna Paul and Carol Williams. My cousin? Oh, I'm not supposed to say that. And Carol Williams are some of the experts that have been able to shed some light on the baker's resident ghosts.
I've almost done it like 4 times, and then for you to do it is very funny.
Also, at this point, I don't think it's a huge deal.
No.
It's already been shared on my personal.
I know, but every time it's about to happen, I'm like, I shouldn't say this because then people will know. And then, that's how it goes. So what's up with Dwayne these days?
Dwayna Paul, they shed some light on the resident ghosts, which has made living with them much easier.
Because as we know, the bakers also live in the restaurant, so they have to deal with these ghosts outside of working hours.
Don't go on the porch.
Don't go on the porch. That's where Will sits.
Don't go near the bay window.
Don't go near the bay window. That's
Don't
where
have
Elizabeth
alcohol
is.
anywhere in the building. 'Cause Caroline
Dry
hates it.
campus.
Yeah.
Don't have freeze dried chives.
Definitely do not.
She hates those. So that's the end of the article, and I thought a fun way to wrap it up is first off I looked up the restaurant.
Right.
Found out it was closed.
COVID.
So it no longer exists.
R.I.P.
It closed in I think 2023.
Oh, wow.
So I think it probably got hit by COVID, tried to
Very
stay
recent.
afloat, and then just couldn't make it. Or the owners probably are just on the older side and wanted to retire.
Or people realize that all the fake
Or people-
hauntings are bullshit.
Or it could be because of their 3.2 rating on Yelp. So I looked them up and decided I would share a few Yelp
Oh,
reviews.
this rocks. I actually love the business interest part of this now.
I figured if they're going to have a business interest, we might as well see what people thought of the
Ruthlessly
business.
attack them.
And it's closed, so we're not harming the business.
Right.
And this is public information that
Yeah.
anyone could find on
And-
Yelp at any time.
It's funny.
And it
And
sure
it
is
makes
funny.
me happy.
I sure did pick the most interesting ones.
Oh, yeah.
I can't say that because I didn't go through all of them, but I did try to find ones that talked about ghosts or haunts. So this first one is from 2015, October 26th. Melanie S.
Oh, and right near Halloween, too.
gave it 5 stars.
Halloween mode.
Yeah. The catfish is wonderful. You might not see a ghost, but the anticipation is fun just thinking about it. Our family has a wonderful experience every time we go. So they're regulars. They go there a lot. Ted S., March 28th, 2017.
Okay.
Gave it 1 star.
Oh, hell yeah, Ted.
I heard about this haunted restaurant years ago, but only recently visited. The catfish was mushy and the breading not crisp at all. The waiting area is small and cramped, and we had a 30-minute wait. The service was terrible. The server never checked back to refill our drinks.
They never wrote our name on the fog on the window.
The black-eyed peas were served cold, as was the French fries. Unless you pay extra, you only get 2 small hush puppies. We also had the waitress with scabs on her arm. Gross.
Oh, my God.
One was covered with a bandage, but appeared to be still draining.
Ted, what about the ghosts, bud? Get back on track. What about the ghouls, Ted?
She disappeared and never brought us our check.
She's a ghost.
Oh! I will not be back. And no, we did not see any ghosts or haunted spirits. Except for the waitress with the scabs.
I do think it's funny. Like, it is a restaurant, so most of the reviews will be about how bad the restaurant is. But
Yeah.
it is funny because I keep waiting for them to be like, "I'm mad about the ghosts," but most people are like, "Yeah, the breading on the catfish is not good." You know, like
I feel like this would have been it's kind of a 1-star review, maybe a 2-star, but because he didn't see any ghosts, he gave it the 1 star.
It down.
Lauren W, 5 stars, July 20th, 2017. I'm in love with this place. I've been here twice so far. Today, I went with my family, 6 people in total, and we were seated immediately. The Cajun catfish is amazing, and the ghost stories just make it better. I didn't see any ghost, but my 2-year-old daughter did start talking to thin air at one point. And then we looked over, and she was trying to give food to somebody that none of us could see.
Wow.
Yikes. LOL.
Terrifying.
Overall, good experience. People on here talking about a specific waitress, but I've had her twice. She's great.
Okay, so that's a direct response to Ted. I also think it's funny that, like, I don't want to. Okay, we're gonna play a me morning. There seems to be a certain correlation of people who like this dog shit food and believe in ghosts. There's like a crossover of like dummies who believe in ghosts and think that the disgusting catfish is good.
It is,
you know,
that is something I didn't pick up on. Yeah, the people that were giving it the 5
I'm
stars.
like, what if I didn't see a ghost, but boy, do I hope to.
There is a lot of like people who are like, I didn't see anything, but the idea of it is really fun.
Yeah.
Kelly C gave it 1 star on March 10th, 2019.
A lot of March 1 stars.
Yeah, March is
A month of 1 stars for this place.
March is a bad
It
time.
must not be catfish season.
Maybe that's what it is.
It's like they're just getting the slop left over from
and then
last winter.
and then that makes them mad, and then they're mad about the ghosts too.
I would say it's probably like low haunting season. I feel like haunting season's like August.
True,
And then
true.
Catfish season's got to be some other time. You know, November or something.
So this place is rumored to be haunted. The only spooky thing we encountered was the food and the service. They were out of lemons and offered limes for the catfish. All food was mediocre at best. Service was slow and inattentive. The only highlight was the rolls. So that's unfortunate. Then we have, this one is extremely special because we have Dan D, who is, he has a tag called Elite 25. So I don't know what that is, but I have to assume it means
He's
that
like one of the best
he's a
Yelpers out
top
there.
reviewer
Yeah.
out here. And he is our first and only out of the group that I picked 2-star review, April 26, 2011. So I was going in order, but these last 2 that I'm going to read kind of sum up pretty much what we're thinking. Haunted, we were told, but I think it's just a gimmick. Why else would you drive to an out-of-the-way, No, way out of the way to have some mediocre fried fish, Waxahachie Cajun style. The place is a converted big old house with a whimsical, goofy theme with cartoon ghosts hanging around and rooms decorated in cheap Mardi Gras regalia. I will stay in Dallas next time and go to Papa Do's.
I bet you got to be where Papa is his preferred place.
I know.
I like this guy. I like Dandy.
Dandy.
He tells it like it is. Also, to find out that there are fucking cartoon ghosts hanging from the bathrooms and shit is like, that should have been disclosed to me very early.
There is a picture from Yelp where like someone took a picture and they're like, my son found a ghost, and it's like a little like cute ghost statuette.
Yeah.
Like
so the woman who was the psychic had psychic powers. Mm-hmm. That was their friend who they were like, hey, we're gonna do a little psychic haunting and you're gonna scare the guests. We got the 17-year-old waitress with the scabs in the wedding dress, and she's gonna come out and scare everybody. We're ready to go.
Scab waitress.
Yeah.
This last one is from Jessica S. She gave it 1 star on May 8th, 2011. So these people clocked it early.
Yeah.
Huge disappointment. Food was overpriced and greasy. They are banking on the location and the press it's gotten.
Catfish is a greasy fish.
That's fair.
Some have said.
That's fair. They're banking on the location and the press it's gotten for being haunted, but you get no sense of the unknown when you actually go in and eat. It's a tourist trap, which kind of sums up what this restaurant probably was.
The .com should have tipped us off, you know?
The .com.
That's .commerce, you know? We want .edu when we do ghost hunts.
Wait, are you saying that this article was an ad?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
my ad senses are tingling.
I think your ad senses might be correct because also
no author. Also,
no author.
Of an ad.
The part that I cut out
was like, the catfish is so good. I love it so much. Yummy in my tummy.
It has a quote. Catfish Plantation reopening soon. The Catfish Plantation restaurant has been restored and will reopen on July 1st, 2004. And for those who might be wondering, yes, the ghosts are still there. That's a quote from Tom and Melissa Baker.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I think you clocked on immediately. So that is the Catfish Plantation in Waxahachie, Texas. I think my favorite part of this entire story was the freeze-dried chives.
I really like when ghosts leave physical objects behind because I want someone to like show me one.
Yeah. Are ghosts gaslighting us in the sense where they're like, here's an object, you'll never believe you.
Can you imagine you have like a really nice jacket on? People are like, I love that jacket. Where'd you get it? And you're like, a ghost gave it to me in a graveyard when I went to prom with her. And you're like, what? And you're like, yeah, this is my ghost prom jacket.
Me as a ghost just doing things to make people try to tell other people, and I go, they'll never believe you.
I'm just traveling the country, just getting sick shit from ghosts. Like, yeah, my PS5, a ghost got it for me.
It's all stolen.
It was a gamer kid died, and he gave me the PS5.
We're going to get into the Bink scale. And originally, when I was reading, like, the first couple of stories,
I had a feeling that you were a little Bink positive on this.
I was Bink positive on it. I was ready to give it like a 6.
Yeah.
Specifically for a couple of the ones where I was like, oh, writing Alicia on the window when you had to have seen someone do it. You're sitting right next to the window. How does that happen? And this is me like kind of if there's a chance for it to be true.
You're looking for ghosts.
I'm looking for.
You want to meet Elizabeth.
I'm looking to say I want to see that ample decolletage.
Yeah, you heard her about her description. You're like, ooh.
If there's a chance for it to be true, I'm going to lean a little bit more true on it.
Yeah.
But then we just kind of got into the whole like business interest thing. And that is such a hard one to like come back from.
It's really tough for me because a lot of haunting places are like very gimmicky. And once you become gimmicky, I kind of can't believe anything you do because it's just like,
yeah, no,
it's not respectful to the crazy old lady who's whipping wine glasses at your head also.
I know.
You know?
And
also, does that not make Caroline mad? Caroline's mad you have alcohol. She's not mad you're hanging fake ghosts all over the fucking house. She's a fucking Christian Texas woman from the 70s. She probably hates that shit.
That's very true. And that's the thing is like once we got into the business stuff, it does make you think like, oh, okay, so like all these stories from before we're probably just setting the groundwork for us being able to market this as a haunted place.
There were a lot of like before stories. They really started with like her setting up the restaurant. That was like Like this
Yeah.
article started with her saying there weren't stories from like the 30s and the 40s.
Yeah, so I feel like after the whole business thing, I'm not gonna like go straight to a 1.
Yeah.
I'll average it out from I was gonna go 6. I'll put the 1 in there, so that gives us what, like a 3.5.
It gives like a 3.5.
Yeah,
Old school style. But also one's the 0. One's a 0
yeah.
on the big scale.
I'm
We all
a-
discussed the big scale.
I'm a jaded 3.5.
Okay.
I'm kind of disappointed with them.
Yeah, I'll give it a 1. I think I'll give like, I bet there's some shady shit with their business, so I'll give investigating their SEC filings like a fucking 7. A 7 on the big scale. We got to figure out their paperwork.
There's some ghosts in that paperwork.
Oh yeah, for sure. But I'll give it a 1 on the ghost because I unfortunately think a lot of it was solicited by their friends in this small town.
I'm kind of mad at them now. Well, that is it for this episode of Ghost Binkers. I want to thank our junior bankers for listening. You can follow us on social media at Ghost Binkers everywhere but Facebook. Share a story with us, request a story, argue with us. You can email us, ghostbinkers@gmail.com.
You're trying to launch a new restaurant, you can send us some fake ghost stories to Draw Up Press.
Again, yeah, we're trying to help you step it up. So send your stories to us first before you publicize them.
Yeah.
Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. 5 stars would be super appreciated. And share the episode with your friends because it's always better with friends. You know, you can, as we know, 2 men are the best haunting.
Yeah.
I think 2 women are probably right below that, but 2 men are probably the best haunting from the articles we've read
They're
so
both
far.
foolish, and they're both inviting ghosts into their lives with foolishness.
And if you're really not feeling searching any of these things out, you can just go to ghostbinkers.com and it's all in one place.
Handy.
Very handy. Thank you to the author of this article,
Who we
think-
assume is definitely not the owner of the business in question.
who we think is not the owner. I'm a little mad at you if you are the owner, but I still appreciate you writing the article because we do enjoy binking them and just being able to do this podcast. So that is it for this episode. We will catch you on the next episode.
Happy catfishing.
Do ghosts ever identify themselves?
So I had assumed they did, but it sounds like no, they don't. It sounds like people just give them names.
Well, 'cause if we're going by Danny Phantom lore, there's the box ghost, where every time he comes in, he's like, I am the
Right.
box ghost.
If we're going by Danny Phantom lore, I'm trying to get haunted by the Ember Snow ghost. Okay, I'm trying to get haunted by the goth musician girl ghost.